All right, guys, welcome to this episode of Live Life in Maine. In this episode, we're going to talk about the residential marketplace in southern Maine, specifically only southern Maine, because that's really where about 38%, 40% of the population lives, and it's where I live, so I really only work in the southern Maine market. But we're going to talk about the housing inventory, we're going to talk about the average list price, we're going to talk about what's really important, obviously, is what things are selling for around here, the days on market, and what the ratio is between when a house goes on the market and what it closes for. So if that's of interest to you, if you're thinking about making a move, if you're looking at Maine to consider moving to and living up here, there's a lot of reasons why, and there's a lot of people moving here, then sit back because we're going to get into that right now. All right, guys, welcome to the channel here at Live Life in Maine. If this is the first time on the channel, you want to know everything there is to know about eating, breathing, sleeping, having fun, working, whatever it is, then I would encourage you to subscribe to this channel, tap that notification bell to be the first to be notified when I drop new content, which will be on about a weekly basis. Guys, my name is Scott Tebow. I'm a broker with eXp Realty, but really more importantly than that, I was born and raised in Maine. I've lived here most of my life. I have 5 kids. I have a wife. I have 2 grandchildren. Very indoctrinated in the state of Maine. Very up to date on what is happening in the state and things to do all across the state in the market in the state of Maine. So I kind of consider myself an expert when it comes to Maine. Guys, we get calls, texts, emails all the time from people just like you looking to move to Maine. So if you're looking to do that in, I don't know, 10 days, 10 weeks, 10 months, give us a call, send us a text, drop me a line, content, send me an email, book a call, book a Zoom call with us. We're here to help. That's our job. We do this all the time. We've helped a lot of people in the last couple of years come up here and move to Maine, and there's a lot of reasons why people are doing that. But I'm not going to digress into that. I'm going to give you some market stats specifically on southern Maine right now. For the month of November, it just closed out, and they just came fresh off the press. So, guys, I got some cheat sheets here, but if you look at this statistic, you're going to see that when you look at the population in the state of Maine, there are 16 counties, and there are 2 counties that dominate the population. Those actually are the 2 southernmost counties, Cumberland County and York County. If you add those 2 counties' populations up together, they make up just over 38%, close to 39% of the population. Not only do they make up about 39% of the population, they're also where the most of the jobs are, most of the entertainment is, most of the social life is, most of just everyday things that are happening is. And this is not to discount the rest of the state. There's things happening all over the state. But those 2 counties alone make up the majority of the population. And it is the majority of the population that I talk about when I'm talking about Maine, and specifically southern Maine, also because I live there. So again, and about 1.3 million people, 1.4 million people live here in the state of Maine. And about, if I add those numbers up, about 525,000 of them live in York and Cumberland County of Maine, which are the 2 southernmost counties in Maine. When you're coming in from New Hampshire, driving up from New Hampshire, you're going to hit York County first, and if you keep going up into Portland, you're going to hit Cumberland County. So those are the 2 counties that I focus on mostly. All right, so let's look at what's going on with the inventory in the market for November in southern Maine of 2023. You'll notice on this chart that in November we had 1,195 active listings. 558 of them came onto the market in November. 329 of them went under contract, and 581 of them sold. Now, if you contrast that to a year ago, November 2022, there was actually more active listings this year than there was last year. More new listings that came on the market than there was last year. Less homes that went under contract this year than there was last year. And ironically, the same amount of houses that sold in 2022 sold in 2023. Now, I bring that statistic up because, for 6, 9, 12 months ago, I was hearing these reports the market's going to crash, doom and gloom, interest rates are going to go through the roof. The housing market's going to crash. And I was saying to people, it's not going to happen here in Maine. We are very isolated from a lot of the rest of the country, and there's a couple reasons why that is. Number one, we just don't have the massive demographics that some of these other massive cities have, like Dallas or Los Angeles or Atlanta or Las Vegas or any of these metropolitan areas. We don't have those demographics. Matter of fact, I just was in a National Association of Realtors meeting. This is about a month ago, and we are like 7,000 or 8,000 houses behind what the population needs and the people that are moving. There is definitely a housing crunch in Maine. We're trying to all figure it out. We're trying to work on density, adding more houses to lots, so those things are in the works right now. But in order to buy a house in Maine, it's not easy. You got to really know what you're doing. You got to really have somebody that's in the field that watches it every day that can help and guide you and make sure you're making the right decision. But I bring that up again because if you look at interest rates, again, people are concerned about interest rates and doom and gloom. The same amount of houses sold this year this November in Southern Maine as they did last November in Southern Maine. Yet the interest rate was a little over 0.5 point, 0.75 of a point higher. So I want you to understand interest rates are important, obviously, but it's just one factor. And the interest rate isn't your interest rate for life, as most of you know, right? It's an interest rate only in a short period of time. But I find it interesting that more active listings came on the market, more new listings came on the market, or more active listings were on the market, more new listings came on the market, and the same amount of houses sold, even though the interest rates had increased. So pretty interesting statistic there for November compared to a year ago, November 22. All right, guys, now we're going to look at the sale to original list price ratio and the sale to list price ratio. Why is there a difference to those two numbers? Well, one is the sale to original list price ratio means when people put out when brokers put out a price, right? You're starting to see price reduce, because there are still a lot of people that are still hungover from kind of late 2021, early 2022, when the houses were going through the roof. So what you're seeing is the housing pricing has come down a little bit as the interest rates have risen. It hasn't slowed down how many houses have sold, as I demonstrated in the last sheet, but it has showed that the housing prices have come down a little bit. So when you look at that first column, sale to original list price means 99.3%. In other words, a broker put a house on the market at a certain price. That price got reduced and then sold. Now, if you look at sale to list price ratio, once that price was reduced, I know this is kind of confusing, but it actually sold for more than it was listed for once that price was reduced. Let me put it to you another way. Let's say I have a house and I put it in the market for $1 million. Just, bear with me for a second. And it doesn't go anywhere after 3 weeks, and I drop it to $900,000. Well, that would be kind of the first ratio, right? Sale to original list price ratio. But then somebody comes along and buys it, and they bought it for $920,000. They bought it for more than I reduced the price for, but not as much as the original list price. So that's why there's two columns there. What's interesting is look at November of 2022. A year ago, almost the same statistics. Actually, the sale to list price ratio actually went up a little bit this month than it did last month at this time. And there's all the market data for the entire year. The point is, if brokers are smart and they're doing things right, they're pretty much helping you sell or buy a house pretty much at what it's listed for. You're not seeing these crazy numbers where things are so overpriced and people are paying these massive amounts of cash over the list price. It's still happening, don't get me wrong, but it's not as crazy as it was a year and a half ago. So Southern Maine, again, York and Cumberland County, what's going on the sales and the list to ratio sold to what is actually being asked for when the market goes on the MLS. All right, moving forward, we're going to look at months of inventory. I find this interesting because this tells you how what type of market is. Is it a seller's market? Is it a buyer's market? Or is the market kind of neutral where it's healthy, right? You have as many buyers as you have sellers. You have a balanced market. We haven't had a balanced market, guys, for a while. And this is one of the reasons why housing still remains high. There's not enough housing to satisfy the need. Therefore, supply and demand, not enough supply, too much demand, driving the price of houses up. That being said, inventory, so months of inventory. A balanced market is about 6 months, 5 to 6 months. If you have 5 to 6 months of inventory on the market, you have a balanced market. Look at the whole last year. We haven't had a balanced market. It has been a seller's market. I'm going to argue since we came out of COVID, it's been a seller's market. A year ago, there was 1.87 months of inventory, about 7 weeks of inventory available. Now there's 2.06 months, which is about 9 weeks of inventory. Again, a house that comes on the market today, according to these November statistics, will be gone by the end of January. Facts, right? They're not, a lot of people are trying to make decisions on when they're going to buy a house. So when I say gone, you also got to consider it's got to go through an inspection, appraisal, all that. So the next slide is going to talk about, or the next picture that I show up is going to talk about the days on market. But the average months of inventory from when a house comes on the market to when it's sold right now is 2.06 months. That includes it going through escrow, it going through an appraisal, it may be going through an inspection, it may be being negotiated on the back end. That includes all that. So this next slide that I'm throwing up here is the days on market. That is from a house, when a house comes on the market to when it goes under contract, when somebody puts an offer on it and that offer is accepted. And you'll see that in November and in October, it was 8 days. That means if I was to list a house today, priced right, based upon the trends, based upon the neighborhood, based upon what other things are selling for, it'll be under contract within 8 days. And we're not seeing like 30 to 40 offers either, but we are seeing kind of, it depends on the house. It depends on the price of the house. For those houses priced between 300 and 500, 550, we're seeing about in 8 days. That's accurate because there's a lot of demand for that. For those higher luxury homes that are priced higher, obviously there's less demand, there's less buyers looking to buy those houses. So you're seeing those market trends go up a little bit. But on average, it's 8 days. So you really got to be prepared if you're looking to buy a house. This is what we do, guys. We help you with brokers, mortgage brokers, get you all pre-qualified, get you ready to go. So when we find a house with you or for you and you want to make an offer on it, we go through the steps and make that offer pretty quickly. We also have some strategies that help you separate yourself from others in the marketplace. But days on market, 8 days, right? Compared to last year, it was 10 days. So not a big change. Again, Maine, not a secret anymore. A lot of people are moving here. All right, guys. And finally, let's look at what houses are selling for. This is in southern Maine only, all right? So if you're looking to move to central Maine or northern Maine, these statistics are not for you. Honestly, if you're looking to move to central Maine or northern Maine, these numbers are going to be lower. The majority, as I said, the population lives here in the south and southern Maine. But these are the average median list price and sold price in York and Cumberland County when you combine them together. I could extrapolate this data a little bit deeper and say York County is probably 10 to 12% lower than Cumberland County. What I mean by that is when Cumberland County has the city of Portland, and you got Falmouth, and you got Yarmouth, and you got right around Westbrook, and you got right around that area, Cape Elizabeth. So what you have is, as you get closer to Portland, things are a little bit more expensive. Obviously, as you get closer to the coast, things are a little bit more expensive. But this is the average median list sold price, and the average median list price and the average median sold price for the month of November of 2023. And what you'll see, ironically, for November, haven't seen this a bunch. I think it happened 10 or 11 months ago. But the average median list price, that means what it went on the market to list or what it got dropped down to. So it went on the market and then the price got reduced, as we talked about a few minutes ago, to a new list price, that house is sold pretty much at what it was listed for. So that's what I mean by when I said you're not seeing houses go for $60,000, $70,000 over list anymore. You're kind of seeing the market, at least from what houses are being priced at and what they're being sold at, kind of balancing out. Now we just got to work on the inventory and get that inventory up. You'll see a year ago, still wasn't that bad. Kind of the median list price was way down compared to where it is, but today, right? So a year ago it was $425, sold for $427. Now it's $475, selling for $475. That's like a 3%. I don't know what it is in my head. 40. It's about 2 point something percent gain in market value in the last year. And guys, remember, this is during a time when interest rates are going up. So why is that? This is kind of flies across the face of all those naysayers out there saying the market's going to crash. Again, promoting Maine. Obviously, I'm a broker, so I'm going to promote Maine. Desirable place to live. Was the 8th most moved to state in 2022. I think it was 2021. That's one of my previous videos. There's a lot of people moving up here for safety, for quality of life, for all those other things, for the seasons, all those reasons why slower pace, all those reasons why people are now realizing, sometimes they want to get out of the hustle and bustle. The high crime is a problem in a lot of these bigger cities. A lot of people are starting to move here. And when I say a lot, I mean, compared to Florida and Texas, bug on a windshield. But as Maine goes, it's a lot of people. Our population in York County and Cumberland County has grown by about 10 to 12% in the last 10 years. So it's a steady growth. It's not like exploding, but there are more people coming up here. I would think there would be actually more people coming up here if they knew more about Maine, which is why me and others have these videos. But guys, that's the market update for November of 2023. I hope this data was helpful for you. Again, my team's job is just to help you make an educated decision on why you'd want to move to Maine. And if you do want to move to Maine, then guys, let's have a call. Let's exchange some information. Let's talk about your goals and what you need to do to get here. And that's what we do. We'll help you every step of the way until you get those keys at closing. And even after that, I've helped a lot of people move furniture and do some other things, fix their houses a little bit. I'm kind of a handyman myself. So, once you're a friend or a partner with me, you're a friend and a partner for life. Guys, I hope this was helpful. I'll drop some more content in a week from now, kind of more about Maine. Maybe we'll talk about, as we get closer to the Christmas season, maybe I'll showcase some of the lighting that we have around this state and the things that people do that go all out. I'm sure it's kind of everywhere like this, but I'll show you some of the neighborhoods and some of the things that are happening in Maine in terms of the Christmas tree lighting, and it really gets you in the spirit. All right, guys, take care. Have a good weekend. Have a good week. Talk to you next week. See you later. Over and out. Bye-bye.